Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
I'm Andy, and I'm here with Erin Helman. She's the South Hagerstown High School Rebels volleyball coach. How are you doing today, Erin?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing excellent. Thanks. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how did you land the volleyball coaching job at South Hagerstown High School?
So I am a teacher at E. Russell Hicks Middle School, so it's right down the road. I've always been interested in coaching at a higher level, and South High ended up coming about. And the head coach previous to me actually reached out to me and was like, hey, this position's opening. And I applied and just hoped for the best and got the position.
Awesome. And you went to Williamsport High School, is that right?
I did. I went there, and then I also went to Washington County Technical High School.
Okay. And you if you don't mind me asking, what year did you graduate?
2019.
Oh, okay. So not that long ago.
No, not, well, like what are we in now? Like 5 years ago, 6 years
20.
ago. It'll be six coming up, I think.
Yeah, a lot longer than me, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
I graduated from Williamsport as well. I was 2005, so little bit before you.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, very familiar with both schools actually. My sister attended South High as well, so I kind of have the history there. I was the little brother that was always running around the hallways and saying I'm bored all the time because she did band, cheerleading, you name it. She was in it. So I'm very familiar with South High as well as Williamsport. You actually played volleyball at Williamsport as well for 3 seasons. Is that right?
Yes, I played for 3 seasons. I played for JV for 2 seasons and varsity for 1.
Okay. Now, your specialization, you specialized in defense and you played is it libero? And am I saying that right?
Yeah, I was a defensive specialist for Williamsport. I did not play libero for them, but I did play for libero. I did play libero for my club and travel teams.
Okay, so you did play a little club volleyball as well, outside of the high school team.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. So describe to me. I've had to describe to me once before, and I feel like I sound so dumb when I ask. What is the libero position?
The libero position, so they are the ones who have the different colored shirt in the back row of the court. Their job is to try just to being the leader on the back court and picking up as much as what they want to pick up, or not as much as what they want, but they need to pick up the ball. Like, that's their job. Typically, whoever is chosen as libero is the best passer, so they just have really good serve receive. They have really good ball control. They read the ball, they read the hitters, they read the block pretty well. They're a leader on the backcourt, typically is what you look for in a libero. I've actually transitioned from having the mindset of a libero being in the back middle to libero being in the 5. As you watch like higher college volleyball, they typically have their liberos in the back left corner rather than the middle back. So I've changed that since I've played, but I typically played in the middle back whenever I played.
Okay, so the libero is kind of like the quarterback in football. I mean, is that a good way to describe it?
That's a good way to describe it. They're just basically they are starting the play. Like, without them, we wouldn't have the ball up. Like, they are typically they're the first touch. Now, I mean, depending on who passes back there, but they are typically the first pass. So the first.
Makes sense.
Okay. I don't know how else to describe it besides that.
I had it described to me once before, and I listened intently, but it was once. So and I'm a guy, so it's usually in one ear and out the other. So
They're
you
just
did a little
different colored
volleyball.
jersey. Just different colored jersey in the back row.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. You played a little bit of volleyball in middle school as well at Springfield, right?
I did, yes. I played
Now,
6th, 7th, and 8th.
Question for you. When you were there, were they still the River Rats or were they the Cougars?
We were the Cougars.
I
know.
I was the River Rat. We used to have those ugly gym uniforms that had the rats on them. Oh, man, I hated those things. Be lucky you didn't have to wear one.
I feel like they for like the cross country middle school runs that they had like the river rats, like it was called like the river rat run still. So they still had the
Oh,
river
okay.
rat stuff, but we were called the
Yeah,
Cougars. So I don't know.
gotcha.
But I mean, we just had plain Cougars. We didn't have any cool logos. So at least you guys had a logo.
Yeah, true. Did you do any other coaching before you started coaching at South High, or is South your first coaching job?
Um, South is not my first coaching job. I actually got into coaching my see I want to say my senior year, maybe my freshman year of college. So senior year of high school, freshman year of college.
Mhm.
Um, I started coaching at Washington County Recreation. So I coached the elementary league and the middle school league. Um, and that kind of is where my passion for coaching began. I then leveled up. I took like a year off because I just need to focus on academics and getting my degree. So
Mhm.
I took a year off and then I began coaching at Liberty Elite for like I did like half a season. And then I went to Shenandoah Surge just recently. And I coached the 16U national team.
Oh, cool! Wow. So a lot of coaching experience. I figured that was probably the case in high
Mhm.
school volleyball. Probably wasn't your first coaching job. It's usually,
Yeah.
the recreational side of sports is usually somebody's first coaching job. I mean, it's usually what you see. But
Mhm.
I want to go to a little bit of the team here and your guys' past season. Um, the philosophy that describe to us a little bit about the philosophy that you have for your team and how you approach the season and what you hope to accomplish with your players. When you're, let's say, at the beginning of this season, what were your goals set out for you as well as your players?
My goal for my girls was to learn teamwork, and to begin developing a higher volleyball IQ. So placing the ball in smarter position, like just smarter places on the court, and not getting down on themselves. Like the mental aspect of a student athlete is something that I really, really focused on this season. Um, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like, to be honest, I was like, like I had a really good club season for my 16s national team. And I was like, all right, so I'm really thinking this is going to be good. And it
Yeah.
was a whole different ball game. Like, I it's 5 days a week of practices compared to club where you have 2 days a week of practice, sometimes three. So it was a different ball game, and you don't understand like how much that takes on an athlete, a student athlete, especially because they have schoolwork, they have this, they have that. So that's where the time management came in, where they had to learn that pretty quickly, especially my freshmen. Like they had to learn time management, and we sat down. Like I pulled my freshmen very often and we talked about time management. And it was difficult conversations to have with them. Like they need to understand that they need to have certain grades in order to stay on the team. Like, and that goes for like my sophomores, my juniors, and seniors too. Like they knew the expectations, but coming in, I had different expectations than maybe what was like given the last couple seasons. Um, Really with like the teamwork, my biggest thing was to build culture and community amongst my JV and my varsity teams. Like it's not just JV and varsity, it's all one. Like we are a team. Um doesn't matter what title you have. So to do that, we did like a sisters program. I actually used took that idea from Williamsport because we did that and I really enjoyed it. It's where JV is like the little sisters and varsity is the big sister. So we like paired them up together. And that was like really cool. So they like got like an away gift bag kind of thing, like just a drink and a candy type of deal.
Oh,
And that
that's
was
cool.
fun. And that built like a lot of encouragement because I told them to, I was like, write a little note in it, like just an encouragement note. And they did. And like it always like got the girls hyped and excited for the away games because away games can be really long, like in the bus
Yeah.
rides and stuff. Um, so just doing with the teamwork, the time management, the mental health aspect. Like we talked a lot about that. Like just sometimes we need to take a break and we need to breathe. Like take time to self-care and reflect on what we need in order to be successful in the court. So there's like just a lot of talks on that. Like we would just sit in a huddle and we would just talk because sometimes you can't play until you have that mental game and that mental aspect of things. Like if you're not mentally there, you're not going to play to your best ability. And along with that, like in practice, if a girl said they can't do it, like that's when I have to like pound in their head, you can do it. And I make them like yell that they can do it. And I keep telling them like to yell it until they do it. And then they're like, oh, okay. Like, so now they have like the I can mentality rather than the I can't mentality. That's kind of like what I've seen in athletes is once they say I can't, they can't and they don't do it because they have that barrier where it's like I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it and I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to have the capability to do it. But saying that you can and changing that statement has really helped my girls a lot throughout the season.
That's awesome. You sound like you really do sound like a player's coach. A lot of interaction with your players. Would you say that's kind of your style of coaching?
That is my style of coaching. Relationships is what I'm big on. Like relationships. Like I cannot emphasize that more. Like if you do not have a relationship with your athlete, they are not going to trust you. They are not going to want to come to you to talk to you about anything. They're not going to want to come to practice. Like you want to make practice as enjoyable as possible. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. There were times where my girls were like, you are not being your best A game. Like they would tell me that. And that's where you need to like have that barrier and be like, okay, like then what can we do? And that's where we had again, like we have the teamwork because I'm a coach, but I'm also part of the team. Like I'm there to help make the team successful. So we
Yeah.
sat down and like we talked about, okay, what can we do to be better then? And ever since then, that's really what turned our season around. Like we started winning games, we started getting pumped, we started getting hyped. And of course it was towards like mid-season, but like it was nice to have that communication from my athletes and be like, okay, let's talk about it. Like, how can we build from this? So it's really, I would say, yes, that is my coaching style, like the relationships and being able to talk to them.
Yeah. Once the players, I feel like once high school players figure out, you're not just playing the sport in high school to win. That's a big factor, but you're also playing it for the experience. You're playing it, you don't know it at the time, but you're learning life lessons while playing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
thanks to great coaches like yourself, I can hear the passion in your voice about the team, and it's wonderful to hear. How did the Rebels do this year on the record wise?
We went 4-10, I believe is what it was.
Okay.
So
Okay.
not amazing, but we had great competition this year. We stuck with a lot of great teams. We went 4 sets with Boonesboro, so the state championship team in 1A. Williamsport, we went 0-3. I'm trying to think some other teams. We really did not stick too highly with some of the county teams this year, which I was like, that is like my one thing I'm like focused on this year is like sticking with the county. We really outdid like the counties outside of us. We really stuck with them. But again, that's where the mentality comes from. Like my girls are very capable of beating any team. It's the of saying that they can do it and not going in with a negative mindset of, oh, well, we lost against them last year, so we're not going to win this year. So it's like just that mental mentality that we need to work on. But that's my goal for next season is to be competitive with our county teams.
That's a great goal to have. Did you want to highlight any of your players from this past season? Did you have any seniors on the team? How many seniors did you have? Do you have any returning seniors coming back?
We had 5 seniors this year. One So I had a captain, Sierra Shoemaker. She was my libero. She was awesome. Anything you told her to do, she was like, "Yes, coach, got it. Yes, coach, got it." Very, very awesome girl. Malia Tucker, she was also a senior. She's gonna be very, very much so missed. I could put her in any position that I needed. She was the quietest on my team, but anywhere I put her, she was like able to do it. And she was like, she's short. She's 5'1". I put her as an outside. And she could put the ball down if she needed to. So, she's awesome. I'm gonna miss her a lot next year. Some highlights for some upcoming players that we have. I really want to highlight Malia Moore and Isadora McCarty. They will be seniors this upcoming season, so they both are juniors this season. Malia Moore is a defensive specialist and an outside hitter. Isadora McCarty is an outside. I have phenomenal freshmen. I put 3 freshmen on my team this year. And to be honest, that was not expected at all. So I have two freshmen right now, Tenley Yost and Carson Lehman. They both are my middles, and then I have Aubrey Sox, who is a setter. So I'm really excited to see what club season does for those three girls to help us for the high school season.
Do a lot of the high school players that play on your team do all of them or most of them play in club volleyball outside of the high school setting?
Yes, majority of them, yes.
Okay.
There's a few who may not. Um, but besides like maybe one or two, all of them typically do play club,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, because I know with high school, you have the dual sport or multi-sport athletes, and some of
Yeah.
them play, other sports in high school as well. But I guess if volleyball is a main focus sport for you, you'll participate in whatever you can get into at the time.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yes.
So when you were playing at Williamsport, and you said you graduated 2019, so that would have
Mhm.
been your senior year. Was Karen Hampton still the coach then?
She was, yes. It
Okay.
was so
So
what was unique about her is I had her for my freshman year as my JV coach. And then I
okay.
had Ashley, oh, I don't know her last name now. Ashley Plume, I think is what her last name was at the time.
Oh yeah, I
But
went to school with her.
yeah, she was my JV coach my sophomore year, and then Coach Moyer, which was her last name. So Coach Hampton, I guess. She
Yeah.
was my junior year varsity coach. So I didn't play my
Oh,
senior year.
cool. Oh, okay. So, but you said you
Yeah,
did
I didn't
take away
play.
from. You said taken away from Williamsport. You said the big sister
Mhm.
thing that you do with your players. Did you take anything else away from Williamsport? Playing under Karen Hampton now, I guess is her last name.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah, it
use
is.
today.
Yes, I've actually taken a lot. I've taken a lot from that program. That program is a winning mentality. Like they have the winning mentality, like just idea, and I love that.
Hmm.
One thing that actually there's like several things I've honestly taken away from her. I incorporated the 1 mile run that my girls have to do during tryouts, and we do it every day before practice because it is so important to be able to be conditioned for 5 sets. Like 5 sets does not sound a lot, but it is. Like that is 4 sets to 25, and it could be very well very close games. And then you have a game to 15 that you have to have the best endurance. And if you don't, you're probably not going to win. So, having that conditioning aspect, I brought into the South High program. Um, the middle school, so whenever I played, we worked very closely with our middle school. So what I had was my players, JV and varsity, I had them sign up to like referee and score the middle
Hmm.
school home games. Just one, that helped them with SSL hours, and two, like that helped them be like, hey, like this is what we do at South High. Like we're not just about South High, but we're also about you guys who are coming up to be rebels eventually, and to set that expectation and that tone like right off the bat.
Hmm.
um Really, I emphasize the conditioning, and that's really what we were emphasized as being a wildcat. We emphasize so much with the conditioning aspect and the mentality. Like if we had an attitude, we were pulled. Like I'll never forget in 7th grade. I was in middle school in 7th grade, Springfield Middle. Coach Crabtree was one of the English teachers there.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I was not a very good, like, I was a good student, but like, I had a mouth on me, I had an attitude, and I gave it to some of my teachers. And of course, I was a part of the middle school program. And Coach Crabtree pulls me aside, and she's like, "We don't tolerate that at South High, or not South. I'm sorry, Williamsport High."
Right.
She's like,
Yeah.
we do not tolerate that. That is not the Wildcat way. And if you cannot do that, you will not be making this Wildcat team once you get to high school. You need to turn it around. I cried. I called my dad. I was so upset. And that is something I actually brought to South High too. I said that, like, I tell my kids all the time who are volleyball players in my class. I'm like, you want to play up at South High? You want to play there? Have a better attitude in life. And they're like, okay. So
See, that's
that
where those life
attitude.
lessons come in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I definitely brought to, like, I'm kind of glad that I have the middle schoolers here so that way I can prepare them for what to look forward to. It's nice too that my assistant is actually, she works here too. So she is the seventh grade teacher, ironically, but she is a seventh grade math teacher. So, and I'm a sixth grade math teacher. So, having that aspect is kind of nice too.
That's really cool. That's great to see. I'm excited to see what the season holds for you guys next year. And I can't wait to see the Rebels have success. I'm always secretly rooting for the Rebels right underneath the Wildcats because I have kind of a history there too. But Erin, thanks for hanging out with us today. Appreciate you coming on so much. It's been a blast talking to you. Good luck to your Lady Rebels next season, and we'll have to touch base about the team before the volleyball season starts next year.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach@thegoat.com.